you mentioned progressivism. Ang isang critique ko dun is sa progressives kasi wala silang limit. Parang everything na parang if you can push the envelope further, parang like let's say sa abortion. Kailan mo pa? Okay, I get the arguments na parang some abortions are needed, diba? Pero do you pag ba malapit na sa kumbaga iluluwal mo na lang nagda-dilate na yung iba pwede pa rin ipa-abort, diba? To some of them, ng mga progressives, parang yes, pwede nga daw iwanang mamatay na lang yung bata.
Right.
Diba? O hindi na i-attend. And to me, it's hindi defined kung hanggang saan.
Yeah.
Diba? Parang, to me, that's murder already. Diba? Pero sa kanila, it's still a woman's right. So, and that is way too extreme already.
Sure.
Parang, there are things na parang, like let's say I can agree that let's say you rape victim ka. I see the logic.
Right.
I may contest some parts of it, pero I see the logic kung bakit people would want it.
Right.
Pero let's say if you are a wealthy young woman and may partner ka and maybe syempre may lalaki din. Kasama rin yung lalaki, di lang yung babae, diba? You messed up, you got knocked up. It's just an inconvenience to you. Diba? Parang, para sa akin, parang, teka, bakit? Kaya mo naman eh. Diba? Parang, kaya mo namang panagutan yan eh.
Right.
To me, hindi acceptable yun eh.
Right.
Na parang, dahil may inconvenience ka, dun sa isang bagay na ginawa mo naman, hindi ka naman mangmang, alam mo naman pwede mangyari yan. Yeah. Diba? And then, ang magiging rason nila is, my body, my choice. Mga ganon. Parang, yes, pero your body, your choice starts with you having sex to begin with. Diba? Parang ganon.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Some say that freedom is the freedom to make a bad choice.
Pero the bad choice would have consequences. You would need to, diba?
They would say that baby is another life already. So, does your freedom extend to end that other person's life? At least, for one thing, it's difficult to... I mean, a lot of people intertwine like politics with morality. I mean, there's sort of intersect. In fact, there's a book that moral politics, wherein politics is the negotiation of morality. Like some people say that vote for me because I am good, vote for me because they are evil. And we're used to saying that, but at the same time, with these very personal decisions, where do we find our morality? The government can't be there in the bedroom unless you allow them to. Or like there's a camera everywhere, or they can't be in the clinics unless they're the public health office, So at the very least, I think, people point to the government. Like, once you legalize something, does that mean it's moral? Or like, no,
True.
But or it just means that, even should the government help you, quote unquote, in mistakes, help you recover from mistakes or correct, quote unquote, mistakes. So at the end of the day, I think there should be that space between government and personal morality, which again, once you have that space, people no longer have, people might go to religion. Religion is still important for a lot of people. But what about people who might not have any religion? What about them? How do they decide what's moral for them, what's not, diba?
Definitely, there are lots of moving parts. Otherwise, it is a hard thing unless you are really parang sold ka na this is the way to go. This is bawal or hindi. Or pwede. Diba? Kung talagang madali sa iyo eh. Kung talagang ultra progressive ka, hindi, ano yan? Pasok sa moral ko yan eh.
Yeah.
Diba? Kung ultra conservative ka naman, hindi, bawal talaga lahat ng abortion. So, it will depend on kung sinong makakapag-argue na mas magaling. And again, putting in other informations na kumbaga that brings nuance. Kasi madali kasing i-strawman yan and gawing black and white mo na lang. So parang hindi kaya ka against sa abortion kasi religyoso ka eh. Kasi sabi sa Bible, wag. Which is not really the only reason why. I'm sure to a lot of Catholics that is a main reason. Pero hindi that doesn't mean that is the only reason. And the more informed you are about the nuances, then the more capacity for you to think about the issue.
Yeah. I mean, I try not to be too prescriptive because again, it's very personal. Yeah.
Sige, kaya mo naman. Okay lang naman.
No, but at the end of the day, at least I can try to explain that a lot of progressive, the reason why they think that, even when certain individuals make mistakes, they need to help them. Like even a mistake like teenage pregnancy or abortion, etc. They have this, according to George Lakoff, their moral politics depends on the way they see what the state or the government is. If you're progressive, you expect the state to be like a mother who kahit mali ka, like pwede ka, okay, I love you anak, okay? But for the conservatives, the state is like a father. So, minsan kapag nagkamali ka, like they punish you or pinapabayaan na parang, say, bahala ka dyan. So, raise that kid, So, that's a different moral calculations there, depending. So, or sometimes, but again, that's based on very traditional ideas of motherhood and fatherhood. But it's still like,
which is not progressive.
Which is not progressive. No, but at the same time, you can also explain what people are looking for in a government. They call tatay digong, diba? Like, so they look for someone who can punish or people who can guide them and can give them tough decisions. Parang, like a lot of people like say democratic is a bit more feminine because you talk, you find out, you express your feelings. But then some people are saying, no, wala nang feelings, diba? Parang ganito dapat, ganito. So that's a masculine kind of or fatherly kind of relationship with the state. So that's why in a way people don't agree on what the state should do. Should the state take care of you even if you make mistakes, or should it let you at least give you the freedom? It's like, okay, you can have that baby, pero bahala ka. Sometimes they're like that, like, bahala dyan. Or like, pak, diba? But again, that's what some fathers do, Yeah. So, do we decide, in a way, that's part of the conversation. Do you want our state to be motherly or fatherly, or a bit of both? Or it can be motherly in these situations, in these issues, and then fatherly in like this. Because it still needs to be tough on criminals, on invasions, on spies, but it also needs to be merciful, on people who want to make it better. Like, may mga tao na, like, people, like, instead of saying prisoners, like people deprived of liberty, and they should be allowed to rejoin society, or like, so that's the motherly aspect. But even to people who are criminals, others say no, death penalty kung di kaya, or diba, or matili ka dyan, bahala ka dyan. So there's always that balance and push or pull. Like the state is both mother and father, but when is it mother and when is it father?
Yun.
Yeah.
Well, again, I think yung morality nung as a society, yun ang magdidikta ng kultura. And like I said kanina, if you want that to change, if you want an idea outside of that established morality for that set of people, then you would have to change how they think, how they view things, and change the culture eventually, para maipasok mo yun. Kasi if it would be a key that would never fit
Sure.
Diba? If you don't do that.
Right.
And right now nakikita nung mga conservatives na may mga efforts na ganun, especially in the US, dito sa Pilipinas, diba? And I think it's healthy to resist din. Kasi kung lahat kasi if it's the other way around, the progressives will resist din 'Di ba? If kung sinong magsalita diyan, parang sige ka lang, sige.
Yeah.
Di hindi matatag yung society mo.
Yeah.
'Di ba? kasi kung if you can just change it right away, then wala kang kultura, ibig sabihin nun. So, ewan ko, our culture, even though the Filipino culture had been kumbaga, gone through different colonizers and our history, di ba? I don't know.
I mean, it's weird that on the one hand, yes, there are certain things we cannot change in culture. Like, the culture is there. Sometimes we're at the mercy of it. But at the same time, people say that they would use culture as an argument, saying that, no, this is our culture. But at the same time, I've said this before, culture changes regardless of what certain individuals or groups think, you know? So I suppose the best we can do is like steer, but not quite like control or box in. Because, like, for a long time, the state, like the government was like very conservative. They tried to censor the Da Vinci Code. And yet a lot of people watched the Da Vinci Code, you know? Or a lot of people eventually read Harry Potter, or people eventually felt like they privileged matrimony, and yet still matrimonies fall apart. So at least what I can say is that it cannot be this way or that way, but at the very least we should engage with the culture and be in conversation with the culture. We have to understand that culture is not solid. It changes. It's like water, I guess.
Well, ano naman kasi, people who try to change the culture naman, parang they play the long game. They know that, na alam nila na magsisimula sila na parang parang, and then they progress. Diba kung anong dati, like let's say dun sa Stonewall, dun sa mga LGBT, diba? Dun sa protesta nila, parang they just want to be left alone and not bullied and not made fun of, ganun. Dun pa lang yung yun pa lang pinaglalaban nila. And then later on, iba na. Nadadagdagan. Hanggang ngayon, parang, hindi, dapat, wala nang gender. Diba? Parang, maybe right now, it could be shut down, but they're gonna try again. Diba? And then, malay mo, after, give it 20 more years, people will be more acceptable than, of it. So, I don't know. That's why I think, if you are somebody who wants to preserve your culture, then you should be wary about these things and be ready to defend if your culture is valuable to you.